Hey guys, it's me, EODGamer here. In this video, we're going to be talking about Phainon's best teams in Honkai Star Rail, and let's start things first off with a very brief 4 things that he does that makes him unique. If you don't really understand his overall kit, very confusing. Not to worry, let's get started. The first thing I want you to know is, unlike a lot of other characters, Phainon doesn't work on an energy gauge, very similar to a lot of the other characters that are in the game. You can think of it the likes of Akirion or the likes of Phainon. Similar to these two styles, he doesn't really work on filling up an energy gauge system. Instead, he has these core flame stacks that he needs. He needs 12 in order to pop off his ultimate. But that doesn't mean that he doesn't use his ultimate, use any energy at all, and energy refillers are not important for him. In fact, he gets his core flames by doing his skill, or when he's being targeted by one of your teammates. For example, if you have Ho healing in terms of energy, he gives him stacks for his ultimate as well. At the same time, if you have any targeted spells, for example like Sunday, for example like Bronya, Tingyun and stuff like that, he also gains stacks. So characters that can do one of these two things benefit him a lot more, and you will see that coming into play in the team compositions that we will talk to you about in this video, his compositions. Now the third thing, I super like this one. I think it's really interesting. It's this departed mechanic that's available. But on paper, let's just start with the paper stuff, then I'll tell you my thoughts as well. So on paper, what this mode is you kind of like go into this duel, you just zap them into another arena kind of thing, where your other teammates don't really matter. It's like one guy versus all the other enemies sort of thing. On paper, it's like that. So the rest of the teammates kind of like depart the battlefield, so to speak. But what's more important than that, I think is really unique, is the passive abilities of your teammates matter more in this departed state. So you don't really need like many DPSs on your team, because they will all be departed when they are in Phainon's team and he enters his ultimate state. So this actually increases a lot of the value of passive abilities, which I think is a really interesting direction. Supports have another spin to it. It's not only what they do, but also what they don't have to do as well. I think that's quite cool. That is for this departed mechanic of his. And last but not least, of course, very interestingly, is he is a chunky character. I don't mean his abs and muscles and stuff, but what I mean is chunky is he does have some sort of survivability, very similar to a lot of the other destruction characters that we see in Honkai Star Rail already. So with that being said, he is a rare character. He is physical element. There are few physical DPSs in the game that hit well. There are some, but still not as many as a lot of the other elements. I'm looking at you, Lightning. But anyway, so if you look at the top-down approach of what the teams are in Honkai Star Rail, I think that he fits best into 2 categories, and he is probably one of the hallmark hyper carry-ish sense because of the departed situation. When you depart your teammates, what that means is you consolidate a lot of the damage window into one character, and that is pretty much his playstyle, and you will see that being revolving around his team compositions. Because of this, we won't have a variety of different team compositions, but instead you will notice that the variety of characters in the hyper carry team compositions becomes very broad, because you can use a lot of them. At the same time, he also wants to play into fast and often team compositions. What do I mean by fast and often? Is teammates pushing him up because they select him, like for example Sparkle, Sunday, you have Bronya, Tingyun, stuff that like push him up, select him as a character and stuff like that. That will help him get more stacks. That will help him attack faster as well, for him to eventually get more stacks too. It is quite skill point hungry, but I just left him out of the skill points section because technically he doesn't use skill points to increase damage or something like that, unlike Imbibitor Lune of sorts. But his team compositions generally are quite skill point hungry. Now that we touch a lot of the general information that helps you regardless of what character that you have, let's talk about something a little bit more niche, a little bit more narrowed down. But don't worry, I won't just talk about like whale comms. I'll give you guys many options, as we always do on this channel. I try to be as free-to-play friendly as I can, and you guys know it too. So first things first, let's start off with an easy to use team composition. What do I mean by easy to use? It's very simple to understand this team composition, very easy to handle, because the whole idea here is, and I'll give you options, you can see that I already prepared some options, so just hear the theoretics before you like scold me because I'm giving you all Sunday only kind of characters. But what this is because targeting characters on Phainon, you give him a lot of stacks, you increase his damage. When he enters the departed state, he becomes like a super buff lord and do a lot of damage. That is kind of the situation that you are trying to go for in this kind of hyper carry comps. So a very standard template, Sunday together with Bronya. There are many options that you can go for, and there are plenty that you can use with Phainon. These are just some of the examples. You can plug and play each end character as and when your account has fit, but more importantly, the key thing about Phainon is he works well with a lot of supports in the game that buff him and don't really need to be the only one doing DPS on the field kind of thing. So double DPS, not as good, but he can utilize a lot of the Harmony characters, which by now I think a lot of us have a lot of Harmony characters. At the same time, you start seeing some Remembrance supports, you see some Nihility supports also that's appearing here as well. So it's really nice, broadening the scope, tons of options that you can select. I know some of you don't have Sunday, some of you don't have the resources to pull him. Remembrance MC is free, great option as well. So for some of you who have your Tingyun's build, also quite decent because she does give damage buffing, she does give energy, and it's also a single target select. So that is quite nice from Tingyun's point of view too. The last one over here is going to be a sustain category. Ho, in my opinion, is the best in slot. She provides healing, she provides targeting to help him give him that stacks. At the same time also, she is quite a good sustain overall. But many other options can work. For example, Fushen, whose passive still lives on, Luota and stuff like that. All of them are solid options, but this is the easy to use category. There will be some of you right now watching this video, EOD, what if I run all DPS, because all of them are going to be departed anyway, right? And that is the next section that we're going to talk about, and that is the no sustain comp. He is a very unique character in his mechanics because of the departed state. This is going to incentivize a lot of people to try to go maximizing the amount of hyper carry they can do on one character, making him super strong. He's also very chunky in his ultimate state, so it is possible to have him run really well. The one big downside, I want to give a huge caveat to any of you who are listening here, is a team composition that has triple hyper carry supports onto one character generally is going to be quite expensive in terms of skill points, because Sunday without his S1, you might not get the skill points that you need. For example, you don't have Bronya's like Cone and stuff. So you do want to balance it out either with characters that can provide you that skill points like Sparkle, or perhaps just skip one buffing turn, skip another buffing turn, and you yourself manually adjust so that you can get your skill points in order. That is something that is going to be quite important. No, this is a relatively difficult team composition in terms of your mechanics. You need to understand the game turn order, you need to balance your skill points. For a new player getting into the game, you are pulling Phainon because you think he's super handsome or very strong, super cool. This is going to be a little bit tougher and you might not enjoy it as much. I would start off first with the easy to use team composition, then proceed to no sustain when you get a lot more familiar with mechanics. But veterans who have been playing Honkai Star Rail for like 1 year plus, following us on the channel now, this is something that is going to be really fun because of the new mechanic that is going around. So very nice. He's great for newcomers, great for seasoned players, variety of characters that you can play. Very fantastic. But I want to double down on the aspect of one more idea, and that is an idea of what happens if you put like characters like, for example, Few, Tingyun 5-star into like one of the slots to get some super break. It's just a thought. It's not maybe super meta, but maybe it could work with more characters coming in the game, maybe with more focus on passive, some interesting twists. It could be an expansion in future, but I'll just leave it as that. I wouldn't even put it in like the boxes. And last but not least, of course, I always have something for everyone out there. A beginner team for players who are just getting into the game, super fresh. You might be joining in future, pulling him or a rerun or whatever not. I want to be there for you guys as well. And of course, if you're finding this video helpful so far, do like, comment, and subscribe for more such future content. It will really help the channel and the algorithm too. So beginner-friendly team, I highly recommend you start off with Remembrance MC for that selecting, targeting kind of thing. Some other options that has that targeting and some sort of extension in sustain is a free character like March 7. But of course, if you have characters like Tingyun in your roster, or maybe you are around when the free Runmei is around as well, you can also pick up Runmei. put here in the slot. I left it down here because I know not all of you might have chosen Runmei, or maybe you are joining in the future and might not have her. So I try to be there for everyone. The utility slot, of course, you can go with characters like Lynx, who it works fantastic with destruction characters. For all of her benefits that she provides. Natasha is a lesser Lynx when paired with a destruction character, but still quite decent. Lorta is of course a free character and is also pretty decent, but you have to choose like one of them. But, so I'll leave you options as well to help you make better decisions. And of course, if you found this video helpful, like, comment, and subscribe, and let me know how your pulls went. Hopefully you got it early, and see you guys in the next video.